Andara 1980. What a journey. This album means a lot to me, not only because it's my debut album as a composer, but also it happened during a very turbulent time. During the pandemic, that this album started materializing, started getting into kind of a shape of an album. And what I want to tell you today about is the story behind Andara 1980. So I wrote this story. It's a short sci-fi novel, one of the many that I wrote. And somehow this story particularly stuck with me. And it's about this imaginary planet named Andara, and everything is happening in the past, and it's kind of like a dystopian world. And it's happening in the 1980s, which for me is a parallel and an homage to that epic synthesizer era. I was so hooked on Vangelis during that time, and I rewatched Blade Runner, so I was very incepted of those pictures and those sounds. And so, long story short, or maybe it's gonna be long, I don't know. It's about actually a girl named Elvira, and she has a very special gift. She possesses the power to harvest the rarest plant on Andara. It's the ghost orchid. This plant can give you eternal life, can keep you young and prolong your life. So, of course, everybody wants it. She lives in a little village near one of the biggest lands on Andara named Morphos, and she's being kept very safe by her family in a little village where no one can find her, because of course these girls are being searched and kidnapped to work as harvesters for the rich people who can afford to do that and want to live forever. And actually Elvira is sad. She is not free. She wants freedom. She dreams of freedom. She dreams of doing regular things, of having a regular life, just being a normal girl and enjoying life, and she cannot have that. She has a lot of sorrow in her soul, and she dreams of other things. While on the other side of the planet, it's land Raikur. Kelan is from Raikur, another very important character in the story. And Kelan is a scouter for the army of Raikur. The scouters are supposed to find harvesters, such as Elvira. Kelan is one of their best. I mean, he just has that instinct. He finds them so much faster than anybody else. And nobody knows exactly where Kelan comes from, because he was left as a baby at the doors, basically, of Raikur. So he's being sent out to find new harvesters in the direction of Morphos. And of course, with his abilities, he finds Elvira very fast. This journey is really difficult, and there are many obstacles that they meet, and it's just the two of them. So they kind of start to get attached. Some kind of a magical thing is happening between them, and the obvious happens, they fall in love. By falling in love, obviously, complications appear, and when Kelan realizes that he cannot let Elvira go, he just cannot do that, it's just a little bit too late. They are already in Raikur. There is a huge battle happening between Kelan and some other soldiers because he's trying to free her. He gets terribly, terribly hurt, and the only way to cure him is to take him to the Dukars. Few people who live in the dunes of Andara and have magical powers are the Dukars, and they can heal with their ancient magical language. Nobody actually enters there, and they do not allow anyone to enter their area, but Elvira has to give it a try and has to go get the last hope she can have to cure Kelan. As soon as she arrives there, she's been met by the highest priestess, Yana, who recognizes Kelan immediately by a birthmark around his neck. He is the lost child of her sister, who died in battle defending him. So of course Yana starts the ritual immediately of healing Kelan, and basically that's how this album is finished, because for me it had to have that healing aspect in the end. It had to have that healing touch in the end. We all have been through such a difficult period of time. The whole world is struggling now as well with so many things, and I am lucky to be able to process my emotions and things that are difficult for me to understand or to process through music. I'm very lucky to be able to do that. What kind of emotions do I have to take out? For me, music has always been the first thing to reach out to when I wanted to process emotions. I had my violin with me basically my entire childhood, and for me it was that instrument that it was not just an instrument, it became a friend. It became a way for me to communicate without words and to always have that friend who's listening to me, and of course spending many hours with the instrument during my childhood and my teenage times. It offered me quite a comfort. And this is the feeling that I'm experiencing as a composer, especially with Andara 1980, is that I have managed to process part of my life and accomplish it and healed it. And basically I did so many things that I never did before. I played instruments I never learned how to play. I only started self-producing and self-recording in 2020 when the pandemic started. So the journey is such a fast one. So many things happened, but I'm truly grateful for this experience. And the few people who have contributed to this album are incredibly important to me. First of all, without Johannes Winkler, who is a synthesizer specialist, I would have never even known what a synthesizer is. He also mixed and mastered my album, which is available in Dolby Atmos. My friend, the amazing cellist Teodora Miteva, recorded some strings on Elvira's Dream, which made the track, of course, more alive and more symphonic, which for me was very important to add that, kind of more classical touch. The master percussionist Stephan Maass recorded on my album and added an incredible amount of skill with his grooves. So listen closely. He really elevated the few tracks that he played on. Of course, this production would not be possible without an incredible support from SE Electronics. Thank you so much for the wonderful microphones I used in recording all these different instruments. My violin, voices, native flutes. I recorded several drums, percussive instruments. I recorded the cello, of course my violin, in many forms and different shapes. I also want to thank Meinl Percussion for providing me with all these incredible percussive instruments I could just pick up and use and play around and be playful and be experimental with this album. Also, I used for special effects my Strymon pedal. I used the Night Sky and Timeline pedal to add effects, and also I used pretty amazing synthesizers on this album. I used the Moog One, Deckard's Dream, Tasty Chip granular synthesizer, a very special tool which is the Haken Mini. That's the instrument behind many of the, I would say, like alien-like sounds on this album. One of my very special instruments that I used is the Soma Divina. Actually, it's only used in Jana's Spell. That track was basically a one take that I did as an improvisation in my garden. I really like the idea of having a full improvisation from the beginning until the end, and just kind of let go of emotions, let go of the ideas that I have in my head, and let it just pour out. And also to create those sounds, I used the amazing multi-effect device by Neural DSP Quad Cortex. A lot of equipment, a lot of machinery behind this album, But of course, the closest instrument to my heart is my violin. There are a lot of strings. Sometimes you can't tell there are strings, but there are still strings in there. Also, a big thank you to Spitfire libraries. I used, of course, a lot of sample instruments to make these recordings sound real and not necessarily having real musicians all the time. It was not possible. Basically, it was just me in a room often. Also, the people who I am extremely grateful for, because the album is also available as a vinyl, only as a limited edition. I actually only created 100 pieces of this album. A lot of them are gone already. The cover, which is me, but as you see, an alien like me, transformed me. I really like this idea. It was made by an incredible artist and my dear friend Andreea Robescu, who's based in Barcelona. We know each other since we are 3 years old, if you could believe it or not. She created this cover by listening to my music and playing with colors, and she has such a unique style that I love so much. Definitely check her out. And the vinyl design, as you can see on the back side, and as you can probably tell on my hoodie, it's kind of the same design. It's the planet Andara, created by the amazing UK-based artist Tebby, who just came up with this insane idea of creating a design of the planet and adding all the journey spots, the musical spots on it, like a map. So thank you so much, Tom, for this amazing work. Thank you, Andreea, for the amazing work. Thank you so much for watching this video. It was kind of weird, but also a lot of fun to tell all this story that I've never told before personally like this. And this is the story behind Andara 1980. I'm sure an album that surprised many people who actually know me as a classical violinist and playing and performing classical music, but also with Hans Zimmer soundtracks on tour. This is something very different. Every album is like a journey. It's like a piece of my life, piece of my existence, of what I have within my heart. So I do hope that you're gonna take time to listen to it. Until then, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give me a like, subscribe to my channel for many videos are going to come soon. And of course, share this video if you think someone would also enjoy it. Thank you so much. Stay safe. Bye.